Welcome to extraterrestrial reality. We're going through climate change on this planet, and while it's a bad thing for us, it might be a good thing for the aliens that are present on this planet and apparently hiding out under the ocean or somewhere. But I would say under the ocean, which covers a majority of the planet. Anyhow, I'm going to read a little article here that was from the United Nations. It's on. I'll leave the link for this page so you can read it for yourself. I'm just going to read a little bit at the beginning so we understand what's happening here. What is climate change? Climate change refers to long-term shifts in temperatures and weather patterns. These shifts may be natural, such as through variations in the solar cycle, but since the 1800s, human activities have been the main driver of climate change, primarily due to burning fossil fuels like coal, oil, and gas. Burning fossil fuels generates greenhouse gas emissions that act like a blanket wrapped around the Earth, trapping the sun's heat and raising temperatures. Examples of greenhouse gas emissions that are causing climate change include carbon dioxide and methane. These come from using gasoline for driving a car or coal for heating a building, for example. Clearing land and forests can also release carbon dioxide. Landfills for garbage are a major source of methane emissions. Energy, industry, transport, buildings, agriculture, and land use are among the main emitters. And emissions continue to rise. As a result, the Earth is now about 1.1 degrees Celsius warmer than it was in the late 1800s. The last decade, from 2011 to 2020, was the warmest on record. Many people think climate change mainly means warmer temperatures, but temperature rise is only the beginning of the story. Because the Earth is a system where everything is connected, changes in one area can influence changes in all others. The consequences of climate change now include, among others, intense droughts, water scarcity, severe fires, rising sea levels, flooding, melting polar ice, catastrophic storms, and declining biodiversity. That's all. I'm not going to read the rest of that, but just to give you an idea, where things are heading. The planet is getting warmer, and it's not good for human beings. It's going to cause, as if we don't do something about this. If we can't slow this thing down, as time goes on, it's just going to get worse and worse. There's going to be more catastrophes, more flooding incidents like that in places that were never flooded before. The sea levels are going to keep going up. It's not going to be good in the long term, But anyhow, that's not the point of this little exercise here today. It's bad for human beings, obviously, but is it bad for our alien visitors, or shall we say maybe even alien colonists who are apparently hiding out here somewhere on this planet, most likely under the oceans of the world, to be more precise. Well, let's talk about these beings. Okay, these beings, they've been described in a few different ways, actually. You hear a lot of people say they're like insects with their big eyes, and the grays are actually, you have the grays and you have the taller grays, and then there's these praying mantis type beings that are apparently in control of all the smaller grays. So apparently these things are evolved from insects. They're actually advanced insects from other planets. That's what it seems like. And then there's a lot of other people, and sometimes a lot of other people claim these beings look like reptilians. Or they seem like reptiles, and sometimes these reptiles and these grays are together too. I mean, it looks like they're all sometimes working in tandem. A lot of alien abduction stories involves all of these beings together. So, and a lot of people have their own ideas about who's bad and who's good. I don't know how anybody really knows this, right? Because I don't know. I don't know which is bad, which is good. I don't know how many are coming here, but it just seems to me that some of these beings are apparently evolved from insects, while some other ones are evolved from reptiles. And I just want to point another thing out here. Like, a lot of people talk about the Nordics, for instance, these they're like human beings with long blonde hair and pale in complexion, blue eyes. Right now, I've been doing some research recently, and I've seen some alien abductees comment about these so-called Nordics, and I'm starting to think that they're actually not what they appear to be. I mean, it's a possibility. I'm not saying I'm right about this. I'm just saying it's a possibility. And what I'm proposing here is that these Nordics are actually reptilians in disguise. Because for instance, there was one abductee that I saw in a recent documentary talking about how if you looked at this being, it looks like it's the classic Nordic description. However, when you get close to the being, you can see it through the side. It looks like you could see that that's not really what it looks like. There's this reptilian features are being hidden somehow. So, I mean, are these beings, these so-called Nordics, actually reptilians, or maybe even insectoid type beings, and they use this to hide what they really look like? So the people they're abducting aren't as scared. I don't know. And how would they be doing this? I mean, who knows what kind of technology they'd have? I mean, I don't know, maybe some sort of holographic mask that stays with you with all your moves and reacts to the way your face reacts. I don't know, but I mean, I guess anything's possible once you start talking about an advanced race that's able to travel, 100,000 light years through space to our planet, or however far it took for them to get here, right? So who knows what they're capable of doing? And I'm assuming that disguise is one of those things. And I just want to throw out there another one other thing about that. You hear about chameleons, chameleon type beings that can change the way they look. You've heard about this, and I actually know somebody, a person who actually doesn't believe that there's an extraterrestrial presence on Earth whatsoever. However, this person had told me a story one time, and I did talk about it in a previous podcast, probably last year sometime, that it was a very strange story. This person had to give a ride to somebody who was moving from one place to another, and the person that was moving suffered from paranoid schizophrenia. And so this person, the paranoid schizophrenia person, would say things a lot of times that you don't pay any attention to, of course. But this person who was the ill person said when this other person picked him up to move some things from his old house to his new house, that there's a chameleon living in the neighborhood. Well, of course, the person giving this person a drive didn't think twice about it. But then later on, when he pulled in front of the house where this guy was living, the mentally ill person, when he pulled in front of the house, the guy who claimed that there was this chameleon living in the neighborhood said, "Hey, there's the chameleon," right? So this person in a truck drove past the other guy and got out of the truck, and then his face changed somehow, and the guy had no explanation for it. So is that what's going on? I don't know. There's a lot more to the story than that, but I really can't tell it with that. I can't reveal names and things like that, so it makes it difficult. But it was interesting to hear a story like this from somebody who doesn't think about UFOs or doesn't care about it and doesn't believe in it. And but the fact that this person has no explanation for this person whose face changed, basically within 2 seconds. When he was in the truck, it looked like a totally different guy. But when the guy got out of the truck and walked past his car, the face had completely changed to something that was completely different than what it just looked like. Who knows? Okay, it's an anecdotal story, but it just makes you wonder. I guess that's part of But anyway, getting back to this, so you have reptilians, basically. And insectoids, and apparently these so-called Nordic-style aliens who might not be what they look like. I mean, based on some of these reports from abductees, they might be beings that are able to change the way they look. But when you look at some information on insects, for instance, okay, I pulled up a page here from Combat, and that's they make products to kill insects, pests. Okay, and it says here, I'll leave the link for this here too, if you're interested. I mean, there's 1,000 places I could have pulled some information up about insects, but why not Combat? I mean, these guys are experts at killing them anyway. Have you ever noticed that during the wintertime or colder periods, you just don't see as many bugs crawling around outside or in your home? Perhaps they, like humans, tend to be homebodies when the temperature drops. Whatever the reason, you can be sure that when the weather starts to warm up, bugs will be back in force. There are several ways you can address problems with abundant insects, and a variety of Combat products can help you in the battle. And what's the difference here? It says, during cold weather, bugs don't hibernate exactly, but many of them do go into a state of low respiration and activity called diapause. This dormant period is a time when their metabolic rate and the amount of oxygen they use are reduced to almost nothing. Bugs that are not able to find a warm place to wait out the winter use diapause instead. However, there still are plenty of insects that are happy to bide their time in the relative warmth of your home's walls. They've been doing what they need to do to survive for millions of years after all. And then later on it says here, when the warmer weather returns, you will see a major change in the number of insects around your home and maybe even inside. Warm, dry weather is what bugs like best, although many of them need a plentiful water source to help them thrive as well. Insects are not able to generate their own body heat, so they rely on the warmth of the sun's rays to keep going. Rainy weather can make it difficult for flying insects to get around, so they prefer a hot, dry climate. This is the reason there are very few bugs in perpetually cold places, while warm regions will have a giant insect population. Okay, that pretty much says it all. Says it all that I'm trying to say about this, about insects. They like warm weather, folks. They like warm weather, and that if our alien visitors, if some of these alien visitors are in fact advanced insects, well, then they like warmer weather. So I don't know if they'd be bothered by climate change. And then, of course, reptiles. Okay, heat is particularly. This is from Reptile Magazine, by the way. I will leave the link for this too. It says. Heat is particularly important for reptiles. As with all animals, it's necessary for a reptile to be able to move its muscles to catch prey or run from danger, and to digest its food. Heat is also important for reptiles to be able to reproduce, efficiently circulate their blood, and maintain a healthy immune system. The trade-off is that ectothermic animals like reptiles don't require as much energy and can more easily survive without food longer than endothermic, warm-blooded animals. The amount of heat a reptile needs depends on the species. Reptiles from the desert, including popular pet species such as bearded dragons and leopard geckos, and tropics such as anoles, green iguanas, and Chinese water dragons, need more warmth than a reptile from a temperate area. Among them, skinks and corn snakes. While all reptiles need a warm environment, the desert and tropical reptiles are happiest when they can bask in higher temperatures than their cousins from more temperate climes. So, I guess you see where this is going too. So you see, reptiles, they like warmer weather too. They like it when it's hotter. So let's think about all of this for a minute. So, if our alien visitors are basically beings that have evolved from reptiles and insects, and say that they're looking at planet Earth as a possible new place to live out the rest of their existence, or maybe as one of many worlds that they're planning to live out the rest of their existence, or as a world where they're planning to somehow at some point take control of and get rid of us, or whatever the case, right? This seems like might be a perfect place for them. Right? I mean, it is getting warmer, and by our own hand. I mean, we're actually causing this to happen, which makes it very interesting now, because we're masters of our own fate, and maybe the beings came here. Maybe they've been looking at our planet for a long time, maybe for centuries, and then in the late 1800s, they saw we had the industrial age. It was the dawn of the industrial age, and they've been checking us out all this time, and they see the direction we're taking the planet ourselves, right? We're basically making it. At some point, we're going to make it unlivable for ourselves, but at the same time, it might become livable to them more. It might suit them a lot better as time goes on. Just saying. Does it make me right? No, it's just a theory. But either they're here. I mean, one of the reasons they could be here is because this planet would suit them better. Right now, they're hiding out. But maybe they're biding their time in the bottom of the ocean. Maybe they don't want to get rid of us. They're just waiting for us to get rid of ourselves, and then they inherit the planet, completely. Or they could just be like, okay. They're still waiting for the rest of their kind to arrive from wherever they're coming from. It's not fully, they didn't fully, the exodus isn't completed yet, and they're still all on their way here. And then once that happens, then they show their face and say, hey, okay, we're going to get rid of you guys now. Well, who knows how they'll do it. It wouldn't have to be Star Wars like, or it wouldn't have to blow us. They wouldn't have to blow us up or anything like that. They could just who knows, just send out some virus that we just can't deal with, and we all end up dying. I mean, who knows? Again, this is all pure speculation. But again, the direction the planet's heading, it seems like it would be more suitable for reptiles and not all sections of the planet. Some sections are going to be just too much for anything, actually. But they would thrive better in some of the some places than we would. I mean, we just we won't be able to handle things as things go on. If the scientists are right about climate change and the way and the direction this is heading, at some point the human race we're in trouble. I mean, maybe not in the next 10 or 20 years, but maybe 100 years from now, things are really bad. I mean, and who knows what it's going to look like then if we don't do something. And here's another thing. Maybe they're helping prod this whole process along. Maybe they're doing things too. Maybe they're involved. They have their own climatization project ongoing that we don't have no idea about whatsoever. In addition to the things that we're causing to the planet, they're doing things too. To make it more to make the climate better for them. Who knows? I don't know. It's all, but they are here. And they're here. What are they doing? How what's going on? Is it? Are they colonizing the planet? Is that what's going on? Is that why we're seeing more and more of them all the time? I don't know. Is it? Did they pick this planet because of the climate and the direction the climate is going? Basically, because of what humans are doing. Could be. Again, it's just an idea. It's all speculation, and it's just something to think about.